One of the greatest mistakes which people make in relationships, especially romantic relationships, is attempting to find in others what they should have developed in themselves. Well, welcome to chapter 20 of our module Singularity and Wholeness in the School of Intimacy. And today I'll be talking about singularity and wholeness in dating and courtship. And this is really going to bless you. All right. First and foremost, let me say this. So many people come into relationships, especially romantic relationships, for the wrong reasons. And when I say wrong reasons, what are those reasons? First, people come to seek completion instead of companionship. So many people come into a relationship expecting that their partner will complete them and not to be a companion. So many people come into relationships expecting healing instead of partnership. I like to put it this way, and I've often said it jokingly, seriously to a number of people. Your romantic partner, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance is not your therapist. They are not. So many people come seeking identity instead of connection. You know, you'll be very surprised and amazed how many people who do not have a sense of identity, or maybe I put it this way, a healthy sense of identity, are seeking romance so that they can have that space filled. Others come into relationships because they are seeking rescue instead of growth. There are people who come into relationships because they are avoiding some form of dysfunction from their families. So many ladies get married or get into relationships because they need love, they need connection, they need acceptance. And sadly, most of this happens because they are escaping a dysfunctional situation at home. When people have not been loved in wholesome ways by their families, they tend to seek romance to fill that gap. Now, dating and courtship have their own purposes, but should never be to do the work which you are required to do for yourself. Your romantic connections must never be to bring wholeness or to bring completion. So think about it. This is one of the most fundamental reasons why, when we have the conversation about wholeness and singularity, I tell people, if you don't invest in building wholeness, in cultivating wholeness, in functioning from a place of singularity, do not expect your romantic partner to bring that to you. You see? So when this kind of things happens, the results are usually very devastating. The first is people in romantic relationships become really emotionally dependent. So many people. There are people who cannot live apart from their boyfriends. There are people who cannot live apart from their girlfriends. There are people who cannot live apart from their fiancés or their spouses. They are practically and frankly emotionally dependent. This person becomes the source of your joy, the source of your healing, the reason for your existence. Listen, when you put your romantic partner in such a situation, you levy a heavy burden on them and so much pressure, which that relationship was never meant to carry. I tell people that relationships nowadays need to be added to CVs. There are some people, if you observe their relationships, really, I think they need to add it to their CV, because the amount of work that is required from them just to be in the relationship with their partner is quite much. It's quite much. So, how much burden are you levying on your partner? How much burden are you levying in the relationships that you get into? Whether these are dating relationships, whether you're courting, or whether it's marriage. How much of an emotional burden or how much emotional weight are you pulling for your partner? Think about it. So there's emotional dependence. When this happens, people become unstable. Relationships are unstable. Why? Because they are built on faulty foundations. When it happens, relationships become controlling, draining. Many times people get into relationships and a few months down the line, they struggle with burnout. There are relationships that will cause burnout in your life. There are relationships that will trigger you so much, that will drain you so much. You would ask yourself if this is actually the purpose of romance. And the fact is, it was never meant to be so. It was never meant to be so. Nowadays, we expect from our romantic partners the work which an entire village should achieve in our lives. You expect your boyfriend or your fiance to be your therapist, to be your clone or your jester, to be your father, to be your mother, to be your sibling, your best friend, to play the role or the roles of an entire village. Relationships were never designed to be so. And so when this happens, it becomes ultimately disappointing, really disappointing. So, how many of you in relationships, whether this is dating or courtship or marriage, are actually enjoying your partner? Is your partner an emotional burden or someone who complements you in the journey of your life? Are they adding to you and creating multiplier effect, or they are draining you on a daily basis? These are real questions to ask. And so a relationship is never meant to provide identity. A relationship was never designed to create purpose. A relationship was never designed to give you self-worth. Relationships were never designed to provide emotional wholeness or singularity. These were never things which relationships were designed for. So if you are going into any romantic relationship because you seek identity, then that's a problem. Let me put it this way. If you cannot say for sure who you are, you have no business even desiring to be in a romantic relationship. If you are in a romantic relationship, if you're dating, courting, or you're married, and you cannot firmly answer the question, who am I want you to know this now and know it for free. You are being an emotional burden to your partner. You are. Now, that's not meant to discourage you or to judge you, but that is meant to give you context on how much work you need to put into yourself. If you cannot answer that question, who am I can tell you now, you are the emotional burden in that relationship. And sadly, if both of you or none of you can answer that question, then that's utterly a disaster. If you came into your romantic relationship because you're looking for purpose, you feel like God is only going to use you when you get married. If that is your mindset, you are already an emotional burden. You need to deal with it. Maybe you tell yourself that you will only start fulfilling purpose when you get married, or you will only come alive after your wedding day. You are the emotional burden. Fix it now. If you come into any relationship because you want self-worth, you feel like when you're dating that tall, dark, handsome, or fair guy, or you're dating that very beautiful and shapely woman, she's going to add to your sense of worth. You will have some respect. You'll be respected in society. It is going to give you some form of social capital or credence. If these are your reasons for going into romance, I can tell you they are wrong. Sadly, so many people go into relationships for these reasons. If you're going into a relationship because you want to achieve wholeness and singularity or completeness, that's an erroneous mindset. Relationships were never designed to be that. Listen to this. Healthy relationships emerge when two individuals who possess growing singularity and wholeness choose to walk together intentionally. Two people who are growing in singularity, growing in wholeness, when they choose to walk together, to grow together intentionally. That is a healthy relationship. That is what it looks like. Two complete people. Let me give you some context. The goal of dating is not merely romance. It is not to, like we say it, catch cruise. The goal of dating is not to just entertain yourself. You know, so many people, especially guys, and a number of ladies I've met, they go into dating because they are bored. They go into dating because they need someone to supply their lunch or their dinner. Many people start relationships because they are broke and they need a partner who will supply their needs. See, I can go on and list hundreds of wrong reasons why people get into relationships. And these are not reasons that I am conjuring in the moment. These are reasons which I've actually heard in conversations with different people. Somebody said she started the relationship because she needs someone to pay her transport fare. She needs someone to be taking her out for lunch every now and then. Listen, if you're hungry, go to your parents, get a job, go and eat food. There are people who start relationships because they need someone to satisfy their fantasy desires. All of these sound okay in the generation where we live, but these are erroneous reasons. So, a healthy relationship will emerge when two individuals who are growing in singularity and wholeness choose to walk together, to grow together intentionally. And so, like I said, dating is not entirely for romance. The purpose of dating is discovery, is discernment. So, in the period of dating, we discover. In the period of dating, we discern. In the period of dating, we develop. These are the things that happen in dating. You date because you want to discern who am I and who is this person. You date because you want to discover yourself, discover what you look like in relation with another, where you are connected in a deeper way than just friendship. You date because you want to develop yourself. Dating will show you certain lapses in your behavior so that you tend to develop yourself. If you come into dating simply because you want romance, you will never date right. Intelligent dating, purposeful dating is for discernment, for discovery, for development. That is why we date. To understand our duality, what do we look like together? You see, the purpose of courtship is not merely companionship. The purpose of courtship is to check or to test for compatibility. Are we good for each other? And are we ready to build a vision together? Can we build a future that God approves of together? If you don't have these definitions, and of course, in the next module, which is on celibacy, dating, and courtship, I'm going to take time and delve into these concepts. You see, because right now I'm talking about them merely in the context of wholeness. So understand why you're dating, why you're courting. You need to understand these things. If you don't put these definitions together and get your mindset right when it comes to wholeness, when it comes to dating, you will be in error. You will be in error. Okay? So think about this. There is a foundational principle here. There's a foundational principle that should guide how you think about dating or courtship. First and foremost, two fragmented people cannot build a whole relationship. If you are two broken or two fragmented people, there can be no wholeness in that relationship. So the relationship will not remove fragmentation. In fact, romance would usually expose or reveal the degree of your fragmentation. There's a way in which our proximity or romance, experiencing romance, reveals our fragmentation. If there's anything in your life that is struggling, that you're dealing with, romance exposes it, and marriage amplifies it. So, the best time to deal with it is when you are celibate and alone. Another time will be when you're dating or courtship. But when you marry, it is the hardest time to deal with these things. Something about marriage makes people settle in their wrongdoing, and these things get amplified. The hardest people to change are married people. And that's why when we will get to the school or the module on marriage, you would understand that one of the corest principles to experiencing a happy marriage is the decision to stop trying to change your partner and to accept them that way and live with them. Any couple who got to this place quick enough in their marriage are experiencing bliss. The longer you are trying to change them, to see them act differently, you will be in pain in that marriage. So, here's the good gift you can give your future spouse. Develop wholeness and singularity now. Take time to heal. Are you seeing? So, if you missed it in celibacy and you're somehow dating or in a courtship relationship, this is your time. When you see the red flags, don't ignore them. Dating or courtship does not create wholeness, much less marriage. So it will magnify or amplify what already exists in you. Dating will not heal your emotional wounds, it will reveal them. So if there is insecurity, it will surface, it will come up. If you have never developed your ego or your sense of self-worth as a man, and then you date a woman, maybe at the beginning she needs you, she depends entirely on you financially, emotionally, socially, so you are the one who provides all her needs, all your friends are her friends, she's emotionally broken and depending on you, and there's this unhealthy dynamic where she needs you. And then 5 years down the line, she goes through healing. So she doesn't really need you emotionally anymore. She has her own friends now. She doesn't socially need you. She gets a job. Maybe the job is better paying than yours. I tell you, brother, it will expose levels of insecurity in you which you never knew existed. So this is the best moment to do the self-introspection and cultivate wholeness. Cultivate it now. If you have unresolved trauma, maybe you grew up in a certain environment where you were never left to speak, and now you feel that you have to suppress everyone else to be heard, it will surface, it will be exposed. If your identity is unstable, it will be exposed. So think about it. Healthy relationships will not hide or conceal your problems. They will not even eliminate them. They will expose those problems. They will expose those problems. Okay? So let's read the Bible verse. Amos chapter 3, verse 3, the Bible says, and that's a question, can two walk together unless they agree? The Bible is asking, can two walk together unless they agree? And you see, we think agreement is acceptance, but agreement is compatibility. Agreement is coherence. Are you coherent? Are you compatible? Do you understand each other's mindsets? Does this person's way of life make sense to you? That's agreement. Do their habits feel okay to you? So, when you understand that, you would see that agreement is alignment, it is compatibility, it is shared purpose and direction, it is mutual understanding. These are all meanings of agreement. Agreement is not accepting everything that you say. Agreement is being in accord, being in alignment. Agreement is being at the same vibration with who you are. Somebody put it very nicely. Somebody said the best relationships exist when people are with their people. That is agreement. That is agreement. When you are with your person, you just understand each other. They make sense. See, if you're dating somebody right now or in courtship with somebody, and so many of their actions don't make sense to you, right now, because of the butterflies in your belly, it may feel cute. Or because you're trying to date from desperation, it may feel okay. You will turn a blind eye to some of these inconsistencies. You will feel like, well, we are so different. You may even say it and it would sound nice. But the more differences exist between you, the harder it will be to stay happily married together. So maybe the first question we want to ask here is, are you dating from a place of whole identity, from singular identity, or are you dating from a place of desperation? And you might be thinking, how am I going to know? See, understand this, right? If you go into a relationship believing some things, number one, believing I am incomplete, I'm not okay, something is lacking in me, believing I need someone to validate me, to accept me, to love me, to cover me. See, any desire for marriage or romance that has you in it is usually the wrong desire. You need to hear that again. Any desire for marriage, for companionship or romance that has you in it is usually the wrong desire. I just want somebody who's going to love me. I want my own family. I want my own people. I want me, my, I. Usually the wrong reasons. When people are whole, their reason to love sounds like, I really want to build and shower love on somebody, to fulfill purpose with them, to enjoy companionship with them, to bring the best version of myself to them. Because true love considers the other more highly than oneself. So if you're going thinking, I'm incomplete, I need someone to validate me, I need someone to make me happy, I need someone to heal me, or that will bring healing. We say it so interestingly in our days now. We say, I need someone to heal my inner child. Find a parent. I cannot be alone. I'm afraid of ending up alone. I'm afraid of not having children. See, all of these sound very okay, but that's the wrong culture. So, how would you know if you're dating from desperation? There are a few things that you will see. The first is there will be a deep fear of being single. If you're not comfortable with being single, with being celibate, with being alone, if you're not comfortable in your own skin, you don't love yourself, love your space, you are able to take yourself out, experience the best life. If you're not alone and happy, you might be going to date from desperation. Number two, you know you are dating from desperation when you are settling for less than your values. I saw a video the other day, and it was so interesting to see how, especially women, get to think. So it's a show where a gentleman walks in, and if the lady is interested in him, she would keep her balloon. If she isn't, she would pop the balloon. And so what happens is the guy enters. Maybe physically speaking, he's not her spec. And her first question to him is, "Do you go to church? Are you a Christian?" He says, "Well, he's a Christian, but he doesn't go to church. He doesn't believe in going to church." So she sounds like she's a very principled person. And she's saying, "You know what? If you're not going to church, we can't work because I'm a church girl, utterly speaking, and all of that." A few moments later, another guy walks in. He's well built. He looks really, chiseled, well put together, fine, tall black man. This guy says he's a Christian because he has good morals, he has good behavior, but he doesn't believe in church, he doesn't believe in pastors, he doesn't believe in spiritual leaders, and he doesn't believe in the Bible. He believes that Christianity means good morals. So this guy's worse. He doesn't believe in the Bible, he doesn't believe in spiritual leadership, he doesn't believe in community and church. And the girl ends up holding his hand. See, ladies, let me help you here. You may think your values are strong until you start thinking about your biological clock. This is real advice, and you might need to take this more seriously. You will act all wise until your biological clock starts ticking and the fear of not having children kicks in. You will start making wrong decisions and you will feel like you're justified. You start hearing ladies saying things like, "I'll just look for any man who's going to give me a baby. And you know what? God is going to forgive me. All is that I have my baby." Because you fear being alone. See, if you are afraid of ending up alone or afraid of being single, you're dating from desperation. If you are settling for less than your values, or if you don't even have values, you are dating from desperation. If you ignore red flags, the guy rough handles you, he gives you a slap, and you come and tell us, "I really understand me. I was the stubborn one." See, when it comes to violence, there's no explanation that will put the violent person in the right spot. There is no explanation. You see all kinds of things, infidelity, brutality. You see the red flags, but you ignore them. You are heading for doom because you are dating for desperation. You are dating from desperation when you have a constant need for attention. It feels like this person constantly needs to engage you, talk to you, respond to you. And the moment they don't do, you start hyperventilating, you're struggling, anxiety, panic attacks, you are throwing tantrums. You know you are dating from desperation when you are over investing too quickly. You started seeing a guy last week, and this week he knows all about your life. He has spoken with all your siblings, he knows everything about you. 2 weeks later, you told him all the mistakes you ever made, and there is nobody following you up. you are probably and most likely dating from desperation. Maybe I add one more. You are dating from desperation if you have lost a sense of personal identity. You are ready to lose yourself to be accepted in the relationship. See, there are probably more reasons, but you need to understand Adam, before Eve came, was whole. He knew who he was. He was doing the work assigned to him. You see, he had purpose, he had identity, he had work, he had dominion. He was doing what he had to do. There was identity, purpose, work, relationship with God, emotional control. Adam wasn't needing or in need of completion. He needed a companion to multiply his impact. That is what relationships should be. Eve was never Adam's identity. She was his partner. So think about this. Maybe we do this exercise as we conclude, okay? First, answer these questions very honestly, and nobody will check your notes. So be honest with yourself. Number one, why do you desire a romantic relationship? Dating, courting, or marriage? Why do you really desire one? Number two, what do you think or hope that romance will give you? What do you hope to receive from romance? Question three, what emotional need are you expecting your romantic partner to solve or to meet? And lastly, are you seeking rescue or companionship and partnership to fulfill God's desire? Sit down with these questions and answer them quite honestly. Because if you don't get wholeness and singularity right in celibacy, you have another opportunity in dating and courtship. And if you miss it here, I promise we will talk about, wholeness and singularity in marriage, but it is the hardest place to experience wholeness. Because I've often said it before, nothing will cause you to lose yourself like marriage. So if you haven't found who you are and you get married, you just might never. And so I pray for you in the name of Jesus that your heart will be still. I pray that you will be patient. I pray that you will cultivate wholeness and singularity, that God will bring you to the place where there is learning and growth. I pray that your mind will be cultivated and developed by the Lord, and that great shall be your peace. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Thank you for attending today's class. I hope this blessed you, and I'll see you next week as we continue with these train of thoughts on dating, courtship, in wholeness and singularity. Okay? And if this blessed you, please share it to all your friends because it may change someone else's life. I'll see you next week. God bless you. Goodbye.